If you look at a 16-year-old girl
Yes.
and a 16-year-old boy,
Yes.
I can tell you for sure there's a big difference.
Yes, that's true.
I have that 16-year-old in my house, and
Yes.
when I ask very hard questions,
Yes.
what would you like to be?
Yes.
He says, I'll see. I don't know. Ask a 16-year-old girl, I want to be a lawyer.
Yes.
I think I want to be a teacher. It's almost, there's such thought process.
Yes.
How do we help boys to set goals and be accountable to what they want to do and just their action? And how important is it? So where do these boys go out? Where do they go to churches? Do they go to places of worship? Do they go to their teachers? Is all and any okay? Welcome back to Boys Let's Chat and Therese Open Mic. This is the space where we delve into meaningful conversations about the boys, the welfare of the boy child, the grooming of the boy, and morphing him from a young teen into a respectable man. I'm your host, Auntie Ree, and on this cold Friday morning, I'm happy to see you again, to interact with you. Today we'll be speaking about mentorship, counseling, and we have a special guest, Shadya Rana, and she'll do the introduction later as we introduce her to the show. But I want to take this moment to just thank you, my fans, for reaching out, for subscribing. We see the numbers are growing, could get better. So please feel free to subscribe, to like, to share, to give us a comment. We would not grow without you. But we're still very grateful because of where we are right now is because of you. Just before we get into this, weather si poa, kuna mafuriko kila mahali, and we want to just ask you to really be careful. It is very unpredictable, and I remember someone that I was speaking with earlier in the week said, Auntie Ree, can you tell people to stop cutting trees? Please, let's stop cutting trees, because when nature takes its natural course, we suffer. So let's preserve nature. Let's not interfere with it, because we are seeing the disasters are wanting. So without much ado, karibuni sana. I hope by the end of this we'll feel warm, even if it's in the heart, because then we'll know that we are in the right space. So most welcome.
Yeah, so my name is Shadya Rana. I'm a foundation stage teacher or kindergarten teacher, as some of us call them. And I'm also a mentor for PGCI teacher training, teachers who are going to training with Nottingham University. I'm also a mentor for the youth, and especially the adolescents or the teenagers. I'm a life and parenting coach, and just recently I acquired a certificate in mediation.
Wow,
so I'm also a mediator. Thank you.
Yeah, milestones.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Great. Just demystify for us a little bit. What is mentorship? Why is it important? Is it even important in the first place? And considering that our space is for the boy child, and a lot of boys are listening in, and they want to know a little bit about that. Should it be part of life? Is it appropriate to seek out coaching? So just demystify this kiasi so that they can understand it and see. Does this help in their growth, for example?
Yes. So mentorship is just having somebody there by your side to help you grow. It could be in different aspects. It could be in your personal life, it could be in academics, but I feel sometimes it's vital for us. Especially for me when I look at just, the boy child, I feel that they need mentors. They need male mentors. Like in a situation like now at school, like in the lower primary, we have so many female teachers. It's not a bad thing, but sometimes my wish is I wish we had more male teachers there. You know, when you have even that one male teacher, all the children look up to them. And you see when the boys, you know, the boys look up to them, they're really happy. I'm like, they need that so that they can grow up. Yes, they have the feminine side from the female teacher, but they need that role model, that mentor to work with them, to let them know that it's okay. You know, I'm going through this. Can I talk to you? Do I need to really behave like a girl? You know, sometimes even as teachers, and I've been a victim. I have boys in my class, but most of the toys or resources are leaning towards the female.
I agree. Yeah. I want to just stress on that. You know, when a child is born, whether it's a boy or a girl,
yes.
First of all, the first 2 years, this child is with the mother.
Yes.
So it's just the female aspect or interaction.
Yes.
And then when the mother moves slightly, it's the household.
Yes.
Who is a mother, another lady who comes in.
Yes.
And then the child will go to school.
Yes.
And I think right now in the normal syllabus, until grade 3, the teachers are female.
You're right.
And this child, all they know is grooming from the aspect of the mother or a motherly figure, so to speak.
Yes.
And therefore they don't know how to be heard in any other way. Not that we want them to be heard, but that male aspect. So I also think it's high time maybe for the educationists to look at a situation where we start to maybe gently integrate a male figure into the lives of these children as they're very formative, because that is formative.
Yes.
Because that's where everything is beginning to make sense and the puzzles come together.
Yes.
Shadya, is there a difference between, because a lot of people will say, these children are growing in homes where there's a father.
Yes.
Can a father be a mentor? Or does these people, child or boys, need to seek it out different?
Okay.
Is the father a right person to be a mentor of somebody the child or the boy looks up to?
Yes.
Or is it much preferred that there's someone else who grooms him?
Okay. I think it depends. Society, today our society is a bit different. We have got children coming from homes that are broken families. We have some who are absentee fathers for one reason or another.
I also have fathers who are present.
Oh yes, but they're not. Yes, exactly.
So there's present, absent. I get a lot of this lately. The other day we got a message from those who write to us, and thank you for interacting with us. We get your messages, we are responding to you.
Yes.
And this lady said, I need help with my 15-year-old.
Okay.
I have a husband.
Yes.
But he's present, but not present.
I
thought we had very many dynamics in families. This one was new.
Yes.
But present.
Yes, so they could be present, but they're not present. In that they're just there physically, but emotionally they're not there. They never interact with the child. They never talk to the child. So we have got, I think it depends. But for me, I'm like, the father is the best mentor for this boy, because we all look up to our parents. Somehow we idolize our parents. Our parents are like our second gods, if I can say that. And when children are growing up, this is my dad, the way they talk about their parents, my dad, my mom. So I think the dad would be the best person. But if they're absentee fathers, I think you can always get a good role model. There are those teachers that these boys are close to. There's that uncle or brother, just get them somebody that they can confide in, somebody that can help them walk their journey.
We have been talking about, lately we've been trying to focus on what are the actual challenges of raising boys in this era.
Yes.
And the dynamics have greatly changed from perhaps 20, 30 years ago.
Yes,
now there's technology.
Yes.
The family setups have also significantly changed.
Yes.
Even when we talk about single parenting, some are not necessarily out of divorce, it's choice, where the ladies are saying, we are raising our children by ourselves. I don't need a man in my life.
Yes.
And these are decisions that we must appreciate and accept. But we've also seen that there's a big gap. And I want to specifically talk about the children, the boys who don't have a father figure in their lives.
Yes.
And there's usually an unsaid esteem issue.
Yes.
Whereas the mothers are happy to say, look, I'm winging this, I'm raising my boys by myself, I'm doing this, but there's a deep fear perhaps, but I call it an esteem issue.
Yes.
I would like you to just speak about it in terms of mentorship.
Yes.
How we can elevate esteem in these children who lack something, but may not admit it openly, but we will see it manifesting later on, where they take a back step, they're not too confident about themselves.
Yes.
How do we approach mentorship just for esteem purposes?
Okay. I feel that it's something I've also noticed, even from those formative years. As I said, I'm a formative teacher. I mean, a foundation stage teacher. So it's something I've noticed.
Yeah.
Like you find I have such strong girls in my class, but the boys are in the hindset. They're just then. I'm like, come on, boys, come on. I'm jeering them on.
Yeah.
But I feel that as we are bringing up our children, we need to, at the same time as we're empowering the girls, we need to empower the boys from that level. You can. It's okay for you to say, hey, you're a boy. What do boys can't sit still? They have to fidget. They have a lot of energy, and that's how they are wired. They can run around, make noises. Girls, on the other hand, are much more calmer. They won't be as loud. So it's good to say, you know what? We are empowering both of you, but then yet you are different. Boys can withstand, maybe their pain threshold is a bit more than the girls. If they're kicked with a ball, they'll say, ouch, or maybe not cry and, whine the whole time. For girls, they'll be like, oh my God, but that's how we are. We are different in that way, And even as we grow older, that's how we are going to be. For the boys, I feel it's okay for you to be able to talk about how you feel, even if you're a man or a boy. I think it's okay not to maybe encourage them like, you can jikaze or be hard.
Be a man.
Be a man. Man
has caused quite some situations lately, looking at all these mental issues, suicide, on the extreme, only because we told them manner. Manner. But again, Shadya, there's also a thin line between telling them to manner, to speak up, and just go out there and really speak about what they actually feel, to now creating sissies in men. I don't know, but sometimes I think now they start saying, so what do you want me to do? I've tried all that I can.
I feel there's a limit, and that's where the mentorship comes. If I speak to another man, they've gone through what I've gone through. Maybe it's my dad. Dad, I'm going through this. Is it okay for me? Then the dad will be like, yeah, it's okay. But then, you can talk about it, but this is how you do. Even a role model, because our children model us. This is what my dad does. That's how he handles situations. Am I able to self-regulate? I think that's the word we want to use. We want to teach them to self-regulate. But even from when they are young, so that they learn, you don't throw tantrums, but there's ways of sorting out stuff.
So just on that self-regulate, it brings me to think. Girls have a thought process. A lot of times, in my day job, the one that puts bread on the table, I met someone and he said to me, no, why don't you hire more women? Because women have a thought process, and they know it was a very technical operation that they were running, and they say women are able to know sequentially how you do things. So now just marrying this into mentorship and creating some thought process. What would you advise boys? And even for the people that they will be looking up to, who are the mentors, even as they speak to them. How necessary is it to set goals and be accountable? I'll give you an example. When a girl is so here we typically speak to boys between 16 and 25. The little ones, we have left them to the mothers again. But then this age, if you look at a 16-year-old girl and a 16-year-old boy, I can tell you for sure there's a big difference.
That's true.
I have that 16-year-old in my house, and when I ask very hard questions, what would you like to be?
Yes.
He says, I'll see. I don't know. Ask a 16-year-old girl, I want to be a lawyer.
Yes.
And I think I want to be a teacher. It's almost, there's such thought process.
Yes.
How do we help boys to set goals and be accountable to what they want to do and just their action? And how important is it?
It's important to have goals in life, and now that's where my coaching comes in. I think I've also done it with my own son. I have a son, and I'm like, you need to set goals in your life. But Mom, I'll do it. So you're like, okay, let's sit down. Realistically, and it has to come from them. Like, what are you looking at? In another 2 years, maybe I want to go to uni. Which subjects are you going to choose? It depends on you. What do you like to do? So write it down.
So does writing down help?
It does. So write it down. These are my goals. Put it somewhere so you can always see it.
And visualize it.
Visualize it. So maybe if you're working, that's where your laptop is. Just put it there. Maybe on a whiteboard or on a paper you've stuck somewhere. Put it there. Let these goals come from you, and then attainable goals, and one day at a time. You don't have so many. So what are we working on? Right now we are working on maybe finishing my homework on time. Or not using gadgets as much. Like prioritizing. First I do my homework, then I can use the gadget. Let's work with that. But then if you don't, I'll hold you accountable because you are the one who has written that goal. So what is my work? I act as a life coach. Have we attained it? Why? We look back at the obstacles. Can we change that or not? Then if we have attained it, well done. So we move to the next one. And I've seen it working, but of course we need to have time. That's where again, just spending time with our children, being that mentor, making it purposeful, this is what.
Whenever I listen to these boys, they have this is where the disconnect comes in. When they're sitting to set some of these goals and create these goals.
Yes.
Half the goals have been set by the dad. I needed you to, whatever the father aspires. And then the child writes them, the boy writes them, but in his head is thinking, maybe these are your goals. They're not mine. So I think there also needs to be some level of consciousness from the people the boys look up to, especially if it is their fathers or mothers, because there are also mothers who say, I just need you to be a policeman or a teacher or a lawyer, and then maybe the child wants to dance on TikTok. I don't know, there's so much creativity
and ownership. I think what you mean on TV is ownership. Take ownership. Let them take ownership.
Of course, I want to believe also around certain guidelines.
Of course, with guidelines, because again, they will tell you unimaginable things they want to become, like realistically but with guidelines. So that way you're working as the coach and your child is the coachee.
I'm just reading some comments in the past shows, and it's very interesting where some of these boys say they don't want to work with their parents. The pressure is too much. Should these boys seek out for themselves the people that they want to align their thoughts with? Or is how formal or informal should this mentorship sphere be? What do they do? So they're listening to you right now, Shadya, and they're thinking, maybe my mom or my dad are not the best people to be or to mentor me. Perhaps out of even circumstance. Let's be honest. Some of these boys have dysfunctional homes. The parents are drunkards. Have decided. You just grow like a tree. So where do these boys go out? Where do they go to churches? Do they go to places of worship? Do they go to their teachers? Is all and any okay?
I feel that even to be able to have a mentorship kind of relationship, you have to have a relationship. Because a mentor is somebody who's very close to you. As you're going through your mentorship journey, I always find like, for my clients, it's like we've become so close, because when we're going through the mentorship, there are personal things that come out, depending on trust and so much. So as a parent, you have to have a good relationship. A good relationship meaning you're not being judgmental. When your child opens up and tells you stuff. I know we are human beings and we're bound to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And this is the time when our teenagers make the most mistakes.
Yes.
Because it's part of the growth.
Yeah.
So it depends also on your relationship. How are you approachable? Or they're like, hey, if I told my dad, they'll kill me.
Yeah.
If I told my mom, there goes the relationship. So even if you're trying to become the coach or the mentor, it's not going to work. You'll be doing it for you. The child will be like, let me just do it to please my parents. But deep down, they have so much. So we create a relationship. If you notice that you don't have a good relationship with your children, it's okay for you to get to outsource.
But what can you tell parents now? Let's leave these boys out.
Okay.
How can they foster
a
more relational situation? Perhaps conducive.
Yes.
To just have an open line of discussion.
Yes.
What should they do? I sometimes, in my thinking, and I'm not a coach, but I think at some point it has to be deliberate. The parent must say, you know what, for the sake of my children, maybe my hard stand, maybe my skewed way of thinking must stop. But in your expertise, what should the parents do? How can they make this a bit better?
I think I'll go back again until you create a relationship with your children. I know it's easier when they're younger, but when they begin to become teenagers or in the adolescent stage, I feel it's important for you to wear their shoes. Sometimes have empathy. It's not easy to parent teenagers, yes, for parents, but also stop and think, what is this boy or child or girl going through? It's also not easy for them. Half of the time they don't know who they are. They're trying to understand themselves.
Identity.
There's no identity. And then you are there, you're fighting, and you're too harsh. It's okay to be firm, but don't be harsh. Don't let your kids be scared of you. Let them respect you as a parent, but not scared. Let them be approachable. Open that ground for communication. Even if it's not in the house, take them away. Have a family time where you all sit down and you're like, we know you're going through this. I'm not being judgmental. You can let me be the safe space that you can always come to.
Be the safe space.
Even though I've done whatever it is, it's okay. With consequences. Because we have rules. Yes. But it's not going to be so harsh that the next time you're like, let me hush up. I'd rather even be caught and keep quiet or something, God forbid, than tell my parents.
So I give you a situation. There was a really sad story of this young man who took borrowed money from his friend and was meant to have paid it at some point, and that didn't happen. And of course the friend kept putting him under pressure and where's the money, and we'd agreed what's happening, but unfortunately for whatever reason it only came out much later than that this boy actually gambled, which is very much against the principles of the father, and of course I guess for most African families and Christian and religious, right? But for me that has already happened. So anyway, so this lender decides to call the father of the guy who borrowed the money and say, I'm going to call your dad. And the first thing this boy thinks, my dad is called, I'm dead. I am dead. I can't fathom. What happens? He commits suicide and tells his other friend, I'd rather die than deal with my dad.
Wow, look at that.
So this story aligns to what you just told us a few minutes ago. Create safe space. See how catastrophic that is, just because the father has decided he shall be military forever. And now they have, the child is no more. Much as we talk to boys here, primarily, I like to bring in parents and say, sometimes bend the rules. Create consequences, of course. Have rules. No homes can be run without rules. But I think at the back of your mind, really have an allowance for an eventuality.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
So sometimes I think we also do disservice, maybe mothers and fathers. Sometimes be a bit flexible, because it cannot be that bad, or it shouldn't be that bad.
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that bad. I mean, if this child is opting to take his life and not talk to the dad, that means there's no safe space. And a lot of children are growing up like that. It's okay. I'll repeat again, be firm, but don't be military. Don't be approachable. That's the word I'm looking for. That the kids can come and say, you know, I'm sorry, mom and dad, I did this. And then even how you did, don't be too harsh. You know, let the punishment fit, you know, the action. Don't be too, no, God, what? Take away God. You know, you know, you have rules, it's okay, but talk about it. Talk about it. Give them also a chance to talk. You know, most of the sometimes, you know, unconsciously you're like, you've spoken, it's over and you've gone. Give even the child a chance to just talk about how they made the mistake, how they found themselves in such a situation. Because it could be something that could have made them deviate and made that decision, maybe from home. Maybe it's something like, for example, the money issue. Maybe they could have come to the parents and said, hey, I need this thing. But you know, because they're so scared, they'd rather borrow from somebody or gamble or do whatever it is and come and say, I'm in such a situation, please help me out.
What is the difference between mentorship and counseling?
Counseling is more clinical, you know, like it's more, I have a problem, I need to sort out, so I look for a counselor to help me walk my journey. Mentorship is more
goal setting.
You have goals, and then you, of course, it's the same thing. You walk the journey with the person, but then there's many times that you hold them even accountable for their actions. You know, because even as we're setting goals, it's me, the mentor, coming up with the goals. For coaching, you need the client to say, hey, you know, I have this problem I'm trying to deal with, so help me to get coping mechanisms to be able to deal with this.
Now just off the hook and now just really going to how it happens on the ground. You know, for a very long time, like I said at the beginning of the show, there's been great support for the girl child. You know, and a lot of these services, both mentorship and counseling, have been freely accessible to them. So much so that you'd find that if a girl perhaps conceived at a much earlier age, there'd be support to help her you know, come back into what is needed her to do, you know, have the baby but still come back to school and continue with her education. Sometimes when the girl gets into drug abuse, you know, again, there's organizations that have set up to just hold the hands of the girl. Now, my biggest worry as Auntie Ree is these boys are exposed. You know, the moment they get into some of these challenges, they become a misfit all of a sudden, and nobody wants to touch them. And someone says, achana na huyo ni mtu wa bangi, ama huyo alipatikana ameiba, you know, and therefore let them be, and then they have nothing. So, just in my understanding of what counseling is, I still think that organizations like ours, for example, and are open to these people, but I think mashinani, we must have a lot of this to encourage boys, because we are seeing now there's a huge trend where the boy child is suffering alone, and therefore the route they take is the extreme, of course, is killing themselves, which we don't want to. Who's going to marry our daughters? But if it's not that extreme, then they take shortcuts into dealing with it. Sometimes they're like, kama mbaya, you know, that's it. Hakuna kitu nitafanya. And therefore we also want to encourage organization, churches, mosques, the local communities, to just reach out to these boys because they're suffering in silence.
Yes, they are. And man up, jikaze.
Yeah.
So they're like, if I talk, I'll be told, Apana, men don't do that. Yeah, but it's okay. It doesn't mean that if we are going to allow you to talk about your feelings, you're going to get emotional and cry. But just say what you're going through. Yeah, both boys and men are suffering. But what do? They hide. They're hiding. So it's okay we are empowering the girls, which is okay. Why don't we do the same for the boys? Because when the boys reach to where the girls are a step ahead.
I recall incidents in the past where we had an HR office, and every lunchtime there was always a lady having a chat with the child. Somehow, and sometimes even if you needed something very official, the child would raise her hand and say, come back later. And you'd realize that these conversations were about just this girl amefungua roho. And I used to wonder now in hindsight, I'm wondering, why the men didn't go through stuff? they were hiding. Or they were trying to man up.
Yeah, they do, but they're thinking about, like, if people see me at the HR's office, what's wrong?
You can't hold your
emotion. But that's how we've been raised. We can make a change. We can make a change because as much as we're saying the boys, even the men are suffering in silence. Maybe have those organizations, more organizations for these men, for these boys that empower them as well. They need that. If you're going to have a father-daddy day, I've seen at the school I work, they're doing a lot of that. And it's helping. So we need to have a lot more of that. Fathers with their sons, doing a lot more of that aunties. I also feel like even when you're getting married, girls are taken, and the somo or the mom, or they're told, this is how they prepare you. How about the boy?
It's a disconnect.
It is.
In the community that I come from, when a girl is born, first of all, you're initiated already. You have a doll. You must know how to birth it. Which is skewing your thoughts in how to take care of a baby. In there, you'll be taught how to cook. There'll be a lot of there'll be so much perhaps even informally, on how to make you be a woman in the future, including how to even be a wife and a homemaker. And nobody prepares this men. And my biggest worry, and that's why I really wanted to talk about mentorship from people that the boys can look at. Because Shadya, one day, these boys and these girls will end up together. Now, when these boys have very little confidence in themselves, because the girls are doing it good time. I mean, these girls are, they go to uni and 1 degree is not enough. And they go for the second and the third, and they even decide, kama kuna side job ya kwa driver, I'll do the job, and therefore the growth the trajectory is just upwards, and then the boys' esteem now all of a sudden is not there. But we haven't changed the setup of families and homes. So still at the end of the day, they have to meet. Alafu
sasa now that's where the problem comes. This boy is not empowered. They are crawling under a shell, and then next thing maybe they can't. There's no connection, and everybody goes their way.
And that's why, just on the empowerment, boys, it's very important to also know that this empowerment will not be brought to you on a silver platter.
Exactly.
So therefore, seek counseling if you need to, seek guidance, seek mentorship, reach out to people who can help you. Because there is no time that you will find someone take you and put you in a position. So you've got to earn it. You've got to go out there for it. But you can only do that when your esteem is good. And therefore, don't feel shy to want to look up, or rather to reach out to someone who you want to look up to, or for this person to help you map out. And demystify gray areas. For example, I want to do this. I don't know what it takes. Perhaps these are the challenges that I'm facing in wanting to get there. Okay, so I've gotten here. but I'm not sure how to get to the next level.
Yes, yes.
And therefore reach out to people,
Yes.
because the responsibility over your shoulders, boys, has not changed.
Oh, yes. It
And will
hasn't.
not change.
No.
And you can't keep crying wolf, because
Yes.
sasa tumeanza kusema, I think in the past we've talked majorly about the challenges.
Yes.
But now we are now beginning to think about what are the solutions.
Yes.
And the solutions lie in go out, look for
Yes.
people who can help you.
Yes.
Look at it from perhaps a bigger
Oh,
picture.
yes. Oh,
and,
yes.
and someone who's been there,
Yeah.
done that,
Yeah.
knows better.
Yes.
And it doesn't, I mean, it would be good if they are very close to you, and especially if they're your parents.
Yeah.
But we are saying, in the absence of a father, there must be a father figure. There must be someone else who's more knowledgeable. We have church people, we have religious people
Yes.
who are out. Sheikhs
Yes.
every
Yes.
day are saying, come to us,
Yes.
let's help you navigate.
Yes.
It's murky, sometimes it's so uncertain.
Oh, yes.
But
you need to have that. Yeah. And I think also it needs to be a society thing, because before Auntie bringing up was that a child was more society based,
yeah.
So we all need to come up together as one and say, hey, there's this problem, whether it's the churches, the mosques, the temples, the schools, the colleges, name it. Let's have more of these places where even the boys can walk in and have forums where they can all share experiences that they're going through. Women, we have a very strong support system. We have chamas, whatever it is, and that's good. And I pray that one day we can have the same thing for the boys, so that they're not suffering in silence. They can go up there and say, hey, I'm going through this. How did you get through it? Let's do this. Let's unite. Build that self-esteem, the confidence. Let's be the men. Let's go out there and, and mentor more boys and more men. Let it continue building so that we can empower them together. Yeah.
It's deep and it's profound, Shadya, and I'm thinking about so many things in my mind.
Yes.
But just even before I wind up, so what I'm gathering is there is a long-lasting solution in mentorship.
Yes.
It is not just a now thing, and this is around, education, society norms, fitting into, the spheres of now.
Yes.
And when the boys take up this now, the impact will be felt in the future.
Yes,
and they'll stand strong and solid. Yes. Then is that's
the need. We need a long-term solution.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe we've been trying to find solutions, but they're not long-term. But our goal should be long-term. What are we looking at? Are we going to? We need to make it purposeful. It's a problem. It's out there. So, can we create groups? Can maybe dads come out and form something for dads and boys? A club or something. More of those, so that we are offering mentorship from the male aspect. For these boys and for these men, a safe space for them to be able to share, open up, build their confidence, build their self-esteem.
Because no girl or no lady wants to end up with a man who has no confidence. So sometimes we can sit here and beat these girls, and blame them for everything. Yes. But if you're also not confident about yourself and what you do, I don't think there's any lady who wants a washer man.
No. Nobody be too late. We need
the boys. Story. I mean, we've got to seek help. I think when there's need to seek help, we've got to, because I don't think you want to have two ladies exactly in the house where when the lady says I'm tired, the man says, oh, even me. There's need to level up, and what you're saying is you've got to go out for it. And therefore it's organizations and bodies and spaces like ours at Anti-Re where we're saying, come out, reach out to us. Let's hear you. Let us see what it is that you're going through. You don't need to die with it alone. There is solutions to everything. Because what we want is to go back to what was. Because we don't want to keep saying the girls have been so empowered.
Yes.
I think even back in the day,
Yes.
I think in our very initial episodes,
Yes.
someone once said, 50, 60 years ago, the man was a teacher,
Yes.
the lady was a policeman,
Oh,
or
yes.
vice versa.
That's true.
It happened.
That's true.
And then they were okay. So why is it now that both men and the boys are, and then the lady is working, but there's a disconnect?
Yes.
Then it means that it's esteem issues.
Yes.
And we must deal with these esteem
Yes.
issues.
Yes.
So let's look out, seek out for support,
Yes.
through counseling,
Yeah.
mentorship. Have your goals, know what you're working towards, understand what you need to get to the next point, and work at it and build at it. But also now, just going back to grassroots, it's very important to have spaces where these young men can come and just speak out
Yes.
of the challenges, the frustration.
Exactly.
Maybe there are men out here who are being battered or who are being subdued,
Yes.
and they can't do it because we have told them they're men.
Yes.
And just man up,
Yeah.
and ultimately we want to reduce. We want to work on the challenges,
Yes.
and if suicide is one of them, we want to reduce it.
Yes.
We want to
Yes.
reduce depression, for
Yes.
example,
Yes.
and we want the men to go out and seek help without thinking, well, sasa mimi man,
Yeah.
wataonaje? It's okay.
People think about
Because
me.
when we talk about empowerment of the women,
Yes.
this is what the women did.
Yes.
They formed chamas,
Yes.
they formed groups,
Yes.
they formed all manner of things where they would go out and vent, but
Exactly.
ultimately it's what
Yes.
made them who they are
Yes,
now.
that's
So there's
true.
got to be levels of building confidence.
Yes.
Wow, it's been insightful, I think, to the most part for myself. I think I now understand a little more about mentorship and counseling, and also to know, to understand the importance of this, not just from the formative years, but also as they progress into the jobs and relationships.
Yes.
And as we come to the end of this episode, I just like, Shadya, just take a moment to give your parting shot,
Okay.
and give us something to go home and think about.
Okay, for me, I'd like to say that one thing we have to remember as parents as well, that we are not perfect parents, we make mistakes, and we grow from making mistakes. So we need to also help our children learn that it's okay to make mistakes, but then what do we do about it? We don't repeat the same mistakes, and next time such a thing happens, then this is what we are going to do. And I think my biggest parting shot is communicate with our children. We are not communicating with our children. Yes, we have busy lives, and sometimes it's unavoidable, but let's make it purposeful. Let's make it purposeful to communicate with our children. Get time. If you're not able maybe to do the pick up or drop off, maybe have days or a time like weekends where you can spend with your children. Like if you have more children, give each child their time, and then you can also do a group. Let them talk to you, give them, ask them open-ended questions. Like I realize when you ask children, how was your day? They'll tell you fine. Good. You can ask them, what's the greatest thing that happened today? What made you happy today? Let there be that conversation, so that they're not feeling like you're interfering in their lives or you're intimidating them. They get all defensive. Let's communicate with our children, and let's create safe spaces for our children. Be that approachable parent. I'm not saying you have to be bammy-chammy all the time. There's a time for everything, but let's have our, my door is always open. Like I'm always, even though I'm busy, dinner is late, if my child came, I can tell them, you know what, I can switch off the cooker and let's sit down and talk. Because there won't be a planned time. Children are like that. They'll come up to you and they're like, oh, okay, mom, never mind, or dad, never mind.
Yeah.
So that one, you'll never get that moment again.
Yeah.
So let's always teach them that it's okay at any time. And in this world, it's okay to not be okay. We don't have to be okay at all times. I know I tell my children that, I tell my son, I tell my people in my family, it's okay to not be okay. Why are you not okay? Speak up. Yeah. Thank you so much, Auntie.
Thank you. I can't overemphasize on communication. I like to, there's a distinct difference between talking at and conversing. So we also have to be very conscious about when we say conversation, it's also allowing these boys to speak their mind and not just the parent telling them what, reading the Riot Act. So conversations are listening and them even telling you, no, I don't think your thoughts are right, for example, and just allow. And I think in that, you also get to know what your child is thinking or what your adult child is thinking, especially because they also have a mind of their own. And that way, you're then able to pick where do you guide them better. But if you just want to give them your thoughts or direct them to how you think, then it's also not healthy. I'm really happy that you're continuing to engage with us. I'm really happy to also share with you that we have taken great initiative to move to the next level and going to communities and beginning to set up groups and teams within the communities. We have partnered with a lot of organizations, which in the next episode we will be talking about. We have formed collaborations with organizations that would also want to help and support the boy child transform into upright standing men. So even in the background there's a lot that has been happening, and a lot of this we will be sharing with you. But all this is because of you, because if we didn't have an audience, if we didn't have boys reaching out to us and saying please come to our communities, we have challenges of drugs, we have challenges of just being misfit, come and talk to us, we are lost, we don't know what to do. So we want to thank you, boys. We want to thank you most sincerely. And it is my hope that at the end of every episode, even if just one life is changed, the impact is felt. I couldn't be more proud of a few of the emails I get that tell me from a particular episode, it changed my life. I saw things different. Because that's it. That's all it takes. And if one person changes, then we will definitely be changing a community. So I want to thank you greatly. I want to assure you that we're here to stay. I want to also ask that you continue to interact with us. Please go to our YouTube channel, Boys Let's Chat Until Riz Open Mic. Subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. Talk to your friends about it, your colleagues, let them subscribe. Talk about it to your boys and sons and boys, because in here is where they also reach out to us. So we're grateful for the support so far, and we look forward to interacting. It's a messy weather out there, so please take care of yourselves and those around you. And until next time, God bless you.